Hi, cybersecurity professionals. It has been some time since I shared a new video for our channel. I'm sorry for the delay, and this delay is due to family commitment. I'll try my best to stay active with this channel and ensure everyone will be learning useful stuff along the way. And remember, our objective is to gear everyone up to be cybersecurity professionals, or learn tricks and tips to keep ourselves safe from cyber attacks. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for all the support and encouragement given to me throughout the time, and your participation to stay active with this channel. To keep the support coming, by subscribing to this channel, like, comment, and share around. Previously, we have shared and learned about cybersecurity awareness. And moving on next, I'll be sharing about ethical hacking. I'll be sharing the history and the phases of ethical hacking, and over time, I'll be showing and guiding the community on how to be a professional CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. But before we start sharing about ethical hacking, I would like to take this opportunity to give a quick introduction about myself. This is for you to know me better. I am Dr. Tan Kian Hua, and I'm part of the American University Lakes University Lecturers team, and serve as an adjunct professor of management, international business, and cybersecurity. I am the school lead lecturer for cybersecurity, design the cybersecurity course material and content for the school. I am also part of the mentoring team with Cybri. Being the assistant mentor with Cybri, I help to mentor IT, information technology, and cybersecurity professionals in their community. As the assistant mentor, I provide a career guide, clearing those professionals' technical inquiries and helping them to review resumes and candidates for their potential hire. I'm not sure if you all have heard about Cybri. If you have not heard about them, just a quick background on who they are. Cybri builds its presence over the internet, and they are an online community that provides free and paid IT and cybersecurity courses for anyone keen to learn or upgrade their skills in their free time. They provide mentorship support with a virtual hacking laboratory for their pay members. As of today, they are having more than 2 million active members globally. As for my full-time job, I'm the principal consultant engaged by numerous companies to serve as their virtual Chief Information Security Officer, VCISO in short. My main duty will be to advise on their local and overseas office, operation across the Asia-Pacific region. During the pandemic last year, my company is also engaged by China, Hong Kong, and Korea companies as their cybersecurity and data privacy consultants. In terms of personal data protection, I am a seasoned data privacy advisor. I serve as an advisor in data privacy for system integrators to fine-tune their cybersecurity and data privacy framework and to enhance their internal policy. Some of the professional certifications which I hold are CISM, Certified Information Security Manager. This is also another gold-plated certification that certifies that the individual has obtained top-tier management and strategy level in the cybersecurity industry. This is one of the recognized professional certifications when it comes to cybersecurity. CISA, Certified Information System Auditor. By the name, you'll be able to tell that a professional holding on to these certifications can audit the information system. This is getting more popular as people are more concerned with personal and data protection, and auditing is part of the scope. CDPSE, Certified Data Privacy Solution Engineer. A data privacy certifications that define the ability of the professional to design and protect personal data or company data. As I always like to say, you will be able to better protect yourself if you know the strategy of the attacker or hacker. Therefore, I've equipped myself with CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. Not forgetting my ABDP, Advanced Big Data Professional Certifications. Understanding big data is a must in today's environment. Big data is everywhere. Even for ethical hacking, you will also require the knowledge of big data to ensure a smooth and successful processes. For today, we'll be going through the history of hacking, then move on to understand what is cyber hacking and what is a hacker. The next thing will be to find out the differences between hacker and cracker. Once we understand who is behind the attack in the system, we'll look at how hacking works and the types of hacking that are happening in the market. Then we'll bring in to understand why is there a need for hacking. Having the benefit of becoming an ethical hacker. Then we come into the motivation of why people hack. The types of hacking methods and techniques. Moving into more technical phrases of ethical hacking and the black box hacking process. The hacking phrases will include the scanning phrase, gaining access phrase, maintain phrase, and lastly, clearing track phase. After living in the hacker world, we need to know the ethical hacker responsibilities, and we'll learn what should I do after a hack.
History of hacking.
The first step to understand something is to learn how does it come about. Let us find out more about the interesting facts on the history of hacking. Hacking has been part of the computing environment for more than 60 years. The origin of the term hackers began in the 1960s at MIT. In their Tech Model Railroad Club, a classic hacker group. This is a place to consider the birthplace of hacking. Hacking was not known to the masses in the past. To be a hacker was to be part of a very exclusive group. They must be the elite among their peers and stand out to be the best to be in the club. Computing resources, or I would say computers in the 60s, are expensive and bulky items that require very careful handling, and not many people know how to handle these machines. So the individual who is selected to handle this machine need to be trained. The hacker group consists of extremely skilled individuals who practice hard-code programming and other older computer languages. Some of the languages we are no longer using them today. In the 60s, the term hackers was accepted as a positive label, and people are looking to be a hacker. They are viewed as a computer guru by the industry, and also be seen as someone sitting in the locked room carrying out programming all day. They will try their best to push computer systems beyond the defined limit for the better of mankind. When hacking first originated, the urge to hack into computer system was based purely on curiosity. The curiosity of what the system did, how the system could be used, how the system would react, and why it did what it did. It is all for a good cause. As time progressed, hackers changed their approach, and they are finding ways to exploit holes into the operating system of local and remote machines. With more incentive looping around, it encourages hackers to start to exploit vulnerabilities. Changing from an ethical hacker to an unethical hacker, we'll be looking at some of the motivation which motivates and moves the mindset of these hackers from the good and ethical path to the evil and unethical path. They are starting to develop to exploit security holes in various computer systems. Some of the common attacks hackers work in the current environment will be able to deface websites, steal credit card information and numbers, and or even money. And technically, what the hacker is trying to do will be to gain unauthorized access to computers' system.
What is cyber hacking?
We will now take a look at the definition of hacking. According to Cambridge Business English Dictionary, hacking is defined as activities of using a computer to access information stored on another computer system without permission or to spread a computer virus. This is a doing of an unethical hacker. Some other parties define hacking more technically and professionally. Hacking is an attempt to exploit a computer system or a private network inside a computer. Simply put, it is the unauthorized access to or control over computer network security systems. They can destroy, steal, or even prevent authorized users from accessing to the systems. With a newer definition, the methods to gain access into a system in an unethical way is showing more, and the roles hackers are playing are becoming more as well. From a simple actions like spreading computer viruses to destroying and stealing information from the systems. Even we know that hacking is referred to as compromising computer systems, personal accounts, computer networks, or digital devices. But hacking does not necessarily mean it's a malicious activity or act. Another way to define hacking is simply the use of technology or related knowledge to successfully bypass a challenge.
What is a hacker?
Now we'll explore the definition of a hacker. NIST, National Institution of Standards and Technology, define a hacker as someone who is an unauthorized user who attempts to or gain access to information. In these simple and clear definitions, we already know once someone is attempting to gain access to information without authorized permission, they can be classified as hacker. So anyone can be a hacker. Before we move on to the rest of the content, I would like to bring our attention to NIST, National Institution of Standards and Technology. If you are in the cybersecurity or IT, information technology field, you'll be hearing a lot about the terms NIST, and therefore we need to be aware and have a basic understanding of NIST. So, what is NIST? NIST stands for the National Institutions of Standards and Technology. They are founded in 1901, and NIST is a federal agency within the US Department of Commerce. Its mission is to promote innovation by advancing measurements, standards, and technology in ways that enhance economic security and improve the quality of life. NIST gives birth to a lot of cybersecurity baseline frameworks, like NIST 834, which is a set of guidelines or deemed as best practices for creating disaster recovery. NIST defines cybersecurity as the ability to protect or defend the use of cyberspace from cyber attacks. NIST definition is more on a high level and general exposure, although there will be a more specific definition for each different user, but NIST will be the international general standards and definition. Another important factor you need to know and remember will be the framework of NIST. The 5 functions of the framework will be to identify, then you protect, always listen and detect, respond when there's an issue, and recover from the issue. Having a framework is very important, and it sets the objectives and direction for the company. It will provide the necessary guidance on how you will wish to implement your cybersecurity strategy. And it will also affect the overview and overall strategy of an ethical or unethical hacker. And in Cisco, she defined a hacker as a person who breaks into a computer system. The reason for hacking can be many: installing malware, stealing or destroying data, disrupting services, and more. Hacking can also be done for ethical reasons, such as trying to find out software vulnerabilities so they can be fixed. So how we define the ethical hacker or unethical hacker will be by the objective of the exploit and the damage done to the system. So what makes someone a hacker? In today's environment, computer hacking is becoming more automated. It's until the year 1980s, then hackers and hackings exploded. It's only then computers were available to the general public at much a more affordable pricing. With the development and growing of open source community, simple tools like Kali Linux, which will provide anyone with an easier and better interface into hacking environment. You no longer need to remember long lines of codes. Now you can sniff into a network in a shorter time and smarter way with the given tools. This is why hacking is possessing a much more threats to the internet security nowadays. Some hackers are highly trained technical professionals around us, and at the same time, others are much less skilled. Now they are also able to launch successful attacks simply by buying the available attack tools in the market. The concern of talents versus skill is no longer a concern in today's hacking environment.
Hacker versus cracker. We all have the view that the hackers serve as a threat to our computers and can take down whatever secret information they want. Today, when we talk about hacking, people are still having the negative sense of thoughts in this. It is a matter of fact that most of the time, people are confused with the terms hacking and cracking. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce another new character for today's webinar. Now we know about the hacker, we shall explore another character, we call it the cracker. In general, both hackers and crackers are people who have extensive knowledge about computers and networks. ranging from how they are built and operates, how they work, the programming behind these systems, the coding, and everything else that relates to security. So, most of us believe there are no difference between the two. Hackers and crackers work for opposite interests. One may work for good, the other works completely for malicious and criminal reasons. This is where the line is drawn between the two. To put it in a simple term, the hacker is a person who hacks, but employed by companies to perform penetration testings, and they hack for good reason. They are the internet security experts who may even be hired for locating and identifying the loopholes in the internet security systems and are tasked to fix these loopholes and flaws. The hacker uses their knowledge to help security systems. They will identify the flaws in the environment and works to improve them. Crackers are system intruders and destroyers for the systems, and they access the computer system or network without authorizations. They are always trying to break into systems to steal or destroy the data. The cracker may be someone who unethically exploits extremely sensitive information and uses the flaws in the security systems to his advantage. The cracker will use their knowledge to break the law and disrupt security. They usually breach the internet security and without paying royalties to gain access to various softwares. However, hacking is potentially more harmful than cracking because hackers possess in-depth knowledge of the systems, the programs, and the coding. However, since the hackers work for developing the security systems, they do not possess any threats to the security systems. How hacking works? How do hacking works? Hackers breach defenses to gain unauthorized access to computers, phones, tablets, IoT devices, networks, or entire computing systems. Hackers also take advantage of weaknesses in network security to gain access to it. Hacking can be classified as technical or social in nature. Firstly, will be technical weaknesses. An unethical hacker will exploit software vulnerabilities or weak security practices to gain unauthorized access or inject malware. They will use software tools to sniff or scan for any opening to gain unauthorized access to the system. Some of the software can be free or paid, depending on the expertise of the hackers and also the objective they want to achieve. In the market and in the industry, the more an unethical hacker spends on his hacking tools, the less effort is required to run the software. Hacking software can be so automated that it only requires a few clicks to get the task done. On top of this, computing resources are more accessible and the cost is cheaper nowadays. Anyone can get their hand on these resources. Next will be social weaknesses. Hackers can also use social engineering tactics to convince those with privileged access to target systems to click on malicious links, open infected files, or review personal information, thereby gaining access to otherwise hardened infrastructure. Social engineering includes SMS scams, WhatsApp scams, and email scams. Types of hacking. Now, we'll be looking at and discuss the common types of hacking. First, we will have website or web application hacking. Hacking a website means taking control of the website owner's web page. Then they can ransom the website owner into paying them to get back their website. Normally, all these transactions will be held in Bitcoin. Following will be network hacking. It means gaining information about a domain or an environment by using tools like telnet, NIST lookup, pin command. You'll be collecting the IP addresses and the MAC addresses of the network. We will also have email hacking, which is known as client-side hacking, where you will access an email account or email correspondence, followed by password hacking. Password cracking is a process of recovering secret password from data that have been stored in or transmitted by a computer systems. All these are part of client-side hacking. Next will be wireless hacking. The most common attack will be to target online banking. When hackers carry out unauthorized access to bank accounts without knowing the password or without permission of account holder. Normally, they will use tools like keyloggers to sniff and find out your password. The main goal and objective of computer hacking is to gain access to your files on your computers, to view them, create them, or edit them without the owner authorization. Why need to understand hacking? Now, we will find out why there's a need to understand hacking. Hacking as a skill can be viewed as a double-edged sword. If this set of skills falls into the wrong hand, it will become unethical. But if it is handled by a good hand, ethical hacking will happen, and the environment will be patched for a greater good. Under the good hand, the skill sets will be used to recover lost information where the computer password has been lost. The hacker will not handle or hand out the lost information inappropriately. If you can exploit your environment, then you'll be able to find out all the loopholes and understand that no technology is 100% secure, and understand how good your network security is. When it falls to an unethical hacker, they'll use it for their good. They'll use it to their advantage and always find the opening for more attacks. Once the hacked data will to be leaked out, it will harm the person's privacy. On top of that, all these are illegal. Benefits of becoming an ethical hacker. There will be benefits when you become an ethical hacker. EC Councils does offer a professional certifications called the CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. This is the basic level of the certifications, and you'll be able to advance your knowledge and career in the ethical hacker environment. For a basic starting point, CND, Certified Network Defender certifications will be a must for people without any fundamental knowledge in network security, or IT, Information Technology Security. Then you'll move your way up to CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker, where you'll be able to place the title CEH under your professional title once you pass the exam and obtain the necessary experience. Then obtain the Master CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. Practical. The differences between CEH and Master CEH is that CH is a theory exam and Master CH is a practical exam. And there's a leaderboard for Master CH. So go ahead and compete yourself with the world hackers. Once you have cleared the core level, you will move on to the advanced level, where you'll be able to obtain ESCA, EC Council Certified Security Analyst. Then ESCA Practical. The same theory applies to the two ESCA certifications. ESCA is a theory-based professional certification, where ESCA Practical is a more hands-on and practical-based professional certifications. Finally, we'll be on the expert level. It will be LPT, Licensed Penetration Tester. With LPT, we have showcased that we have passed all the requirements and will become a confident ethical hacker. During your learning phase with EC Council, you will be advancing a lot of knowledge and information on risks and vulnerabilities. And you'll be learning how to think like an ethical hacker. This is particularly important that a CH will be able to fetch a higher salary. Having such a professional certifications like CH will improve the individual security career and will be exposed to real industry hacking tools. All these are valuable lessons and experience that money cannot buy.
So, in summary, the benefits of learning an ethical hacker will be that it allows you to, first, advance your knowledge on the information of risks and vulnerabilities. You'll be able to carry out your duty more confidently as you know how hacking works, and with the knowledge, you'll be able to protect the data you are using. Second, if you learn how to think like a hacker, you'll be able to know the right steps to protect your data. And if your friends or colleagues know that you are CH, Certified Ethical Hacker, you will stand a better chance to place for your company projects or place as a consultant. Thirdly, as such, you'll be likely to be recognized for promotion and increase your salary. As a CH Certified Ethical Hacker, the minimum basic pay will be $72,000 annual in USD. Fourthly, with such a title, you'll be able to improve your security career in the cybersecurity industry. People look for titles and experience. In every industry, there will be professional certifications, and this allows them to up their career. Lastly, if you're going to CH courses, you will have a hand in real-life contact for hacking tools. It provides an edge for you in the industry. And with such an experience, now you'll be able to know if a real-life hacking has happened.
Why people hack?
Then we come into the motivation of why people hack and the types of hacking methods and technologies. Moving into more technical phrases of ethical hacking and the black box hacking processes, the hacking phase will include the scanning phase, gaining access phase, maintain phase, and lastly, clearing threat phases. After living in the hacker world, you will need to know how the ethical hacker thinks and their responsibilities, and we'll learn what we should do after a hack. We'll start off to understand why is there a need for hacking. Having the benefit of becoming an ethical hacker, we'll understand why people hack. Now we'll take a look at why people hack. I feel this is an important topic for our discussion. Only when we know what encourages people to hack, then we'll be able to evaluate if this is the right path for us. You can choose to go into hacking for your learning and interest, or you can make a stand to choose or repath hacking as your career planning. There are hackers out there who hack to make their point. Most of the time, hacking is a state-sponsored or company-sponsored event. Hacking requires high computing power and high demand for resources. Nowadays, hackers move in as a group to have a hands-on experience on the most advanced hacking tools. You will need a sponsor on this. When hacker is a state sponsor, part of their scope will be to assist them to make a political point. Some hackers just hack for fun. For me, I start learning hacking for my own interest and as my fun time. But after touching base with hackings and over time, hacking can be a good career path. And if you want to be in the cybersecurity industry, hacking tools and hacking knowledge will add good knowledge to your profile. There'll be times when hackers hack to show off their talents and skills. It will not be more of a show off, but to showcase their capability and hoping to get company interest to hire them. And there are hacking events out there where you'll be able to hack for money and fame. Some events even rewards up to hundreds of thousands for the top hacking team. And during these events, some of the companies will be there to headhunt or scout for talents. The main reason why there's a growth in supply of hackers will be the dollars and cents. Hackers will gain access to your computer system or access to your personal information to obtain sensitive and terrible information. They can access your ideas like personal information or any important information and sell it on the black market for a fee. Then information will be exposed. Hackers also encrypt companies' information and ransom the company to pay the hacker. Hackers sometimes will hack into a system for a challenge. As mentioned earlier, they are hacking events organized by companies. The motivation why companies are doing this can either to create awareness for hacking in their industry. It might be cybersecurity vendors and is there to sell solutions during the event. Or company organize such events to get the latest updates and to headhunt potential ethical hackers. Nothing beats selecting your employees during a hacking event where you'll be able to see the skill set of your potential employee. The last reason will be for the ethical hackers or the protectors to be on the offensive side. Be there first before the bad guys get into the picture. The roles and responsibilities of a system penetrations testers are to ensure that you'll be able to explore and identify the vulnerabilities before the bad guys identify them. A system penetration tester is on the advanced grade of an ethical hacker. They have the skill set and abilities to hack into a system and identify all the vulnerabilities and weaknesses of the systems. For any IT, information technology solutions to be in place and to go live, the company must hack themselves first to ensure all systems are protected and there are no loopholes. Always be the offensive side than to be sorry in the game.
Types of hacking. Now, let's take a look at the different types of hacking techniques. Hacking techniques can be classified into 3 different colors. And these colors simplify things for our understanding and learning. The first color will be black, and the normal industrial term will be called black box hacking. When conducting hacking techniques in a black box environment, the hackers have zero knowledge of the IT infrastructure in the system. In this environment, the most effort will be required, and a lot of tools and software will be used. The time to handle and break into such environment will be the longest. Next will be gray box hacking environment, where the hackers will have some knowledge of the hacking environment. They will not have the full information about the environment, but they will be given enough information to get the job done more quickly and more effectively. Finally, will be white box tactics, where the hackers will have full knowledge of the identified environment. With all the information given, the hacker will be able to plan what tools to use, what software will be required, and how to approach from it. In a white box environment, the hacker team can also cut the cost by aligning the best person to carry out the task. The environment might just require a junior penetration tester, a professional name for a hacker, rather than a senior hacker. This is how manpower costing can be cut. Phrases of ethical hacking. We have now come to the most interesting part of today's sharing, the phrases of ethical hacking. This is a basic lesson for anyone keen to take up ethical hacking and get ourselves a CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker certifications. The phrases of ethical hacking will be reconnaissance, then scanning, followed by gaining access. Moving on will be to maintain access, and finally to cover tracks. If you think of this process, don't you find it the same as going for a battle? It makes a lot of sense as planning for a battle. Before the battle, you send in your recce troopers, which is a start, as the same as reconnaissance. Before they gain access, they will scan the environment, plan for the retreat route, and slowly move into enemy territory to gain access to them. Then you have to maintain the access and keep gathering the information they want. Before the army general sends in the main force to attack, the recce troopers will have to withdraw and you have to cover their traces. This is so no enemy will detect them and will not be able to come out with a countermeasures or alert their defense system. The first phrase of ethical hacking will be reconnaissance. For hackers, these are steps to determine if they will want to use passive or active attacks. It can be known as the preparation phrase. Hackers will use the passive attacks in black box tactics, where the victims or the environment is unknown. They will cast a net to fish for the network, for any victims that will fall prey. If the victims or the network is unknown, this will be white box tactics, and they will use the active attack. Under the active attack, the target is known, and this is a very useful piece of information to determine the level of skills of the hacker, the tools and software required. At this information gathering stage, information gathering will be achieved through the understanding of how hacking works. Remember, as shared before, at the beginning of this ethical hacking journey, we learned about the weakness of hacking. I hope you all still remember. The two kinds of weaknesses are tactical weakness and social weakness. By using tactical weakness to gain information, we will be using tools to sniff and scan the network to find out more information. We will gain specific IP addresses, identified vulnerabilities between the target systems, and finally, drew out a network map to know exactly how the network infrastructure works, to break it into easier forms and thoughts. They can also go into impersonating a website by mirroring it, using search engines to find information about the company, and even use the information of current employees for impersonations. In some cases, social weakness will require the hacker to go into web search and social media to gain more information on the victim. Social engineering tactics will be deployed as well, like dumpster diving. The objectives are to find out valuable information, such as old passwords, names of important employees, such as the head of network department, and perform an active reconnaissance to know how the company functions and the hierarchy of it. This is an example of black box hacking process during the reconnaissance phase. The links provided are actual links that ethical hackers use during their process. Step 1. To confirm the target. Understanding how the company website evolved by using the URL. Then you gain more website information through another URL. Followed by step 2. Gaining all the details. So you can find out about diagram internet registry using the URL. If you are using Linux, you will use commands like whois and dig. Step number 3 will be Google hacking by using all those index and all those keywords to get your victim information out. The next phase will be scanning. This is a method which the hackers perform before they attack the network. In scanning, the hacker uses the details gathered during reconnaissance to identify specific weaknesses. Scanning can be considered a logical extension and overlap of active reconnaissance.
Often, the attackers or hackers use automated tools such as network or host scanners to locate systems and attempt to discover weaknesses in the network. An attacker can gather critical network information such as mapping of systems, routers, and firewall by using simple tools such as traceroute. Traceroute is a free hacking tool which hacker will use. Port scanners can be used to detect listening ports to find information about the nature of services running on the target machine. The primary defense tactics in this regards is to shut down the services that are no longer required. Appropriate filtering may also be adopted as a defense mechanism. However, attackers can use tools to determine the rules implemented for filtering and overcome them. A CEH certified ethical hacker follows a particular sequence of steps to scan any network. Through a systematic approach presented, the scanning methods may differ based on the attack objective, which are set out before the attackers begin this process. The steps will be as follows. Check for live systems. Check for open ports. Identify service. Banner grabbing. OS fingerprinting. Scan for any vulnerabilities. Draw a network diagram of the vulnerable host. Prepare proxy. Finally, attack. The most used tools are vulnerability scanners. They can scan for several known weaknesses on the target network and can potentially detect thousands of weaknesses. This gives the hackers advantage of time because it enables him to find a single means of entry, while the system defenders and professionals have to secure many weaknesses by applying patches. Now will be to gain access, where hackers will gain access to the systems, applications, and network, and escalate their user privilege to control the systems connected to it. Gaining access is the most important phase of an attack in terms of potential damage. Attackers need not always gain access to the system to cause damage. For instance, denial of service (DDoS) attacks can either exhaust resources or stop services from running on the target system. Stopping of such service can be carried out by killing processes, using a logic time bomb, or even reconfiguring and crashing the systems. Resources can be exhausted locally by filling up outgoing communication links. The exploit can occur locally, offline, over a LAN, or on the internet as a deception or theft. Examples include stack-based buffer overflows, denial of service, and section hijacking. Attackers use a tactic called spoofing to exploit the system by pretending to be strangers or different systems. They can use these tactics to send a package containing a bug to the target systems to exploit the weaknesses. Package flooding may be used to remotely stop the availability of essential service. The most damaging type of denial of service can be called the distributed denial of service (DDoS) attacks, where an attacker uses zombie software distributed over several machines on the internet to trigger a large-scale denial of service. Then we'll move on to maintain the access of the attack. If this is established well, the attackers will not need to re-establish the connections every time they want to gain access to the target system. They can also use this to launch additional attacks on the network. Once an attacker gains access to the target systems, the attackers can choose to use both the system and the resources. And in the future, use the systems as a launchpad to scan and exploit other systems, or to keep a low profile and continue exploiting the systems. Both these actions can damage the company's systems and reputation. Attackers who choose to remain undetected remove evidence of their entry and use a backdoor or a Trojan to gain repeat access. They can also install rootkits at the kernel level to gain super user access. The reason behind this is that rootkits gain access at the operating system level, while a Trojan horse gains access at the application level. Both rootkits and Trojans depends on users to install them. Between Windows systems, most Trojans install themselves as a service and run as a local system with administrative access. Attackers can use Trojan horses to transfer usernames, passwords, and even credit cards information stored on the system. They can maintain control over their system for a long time by hardening the system against other attackers, and sometimes in the process will cause some kind of degree of protections to the system from other attacks. To maintain such access to the systems, the attackers can use their access to steal data, consume CPU cycles, and trade sensitive information, or even resort to extortions. The company can use intrusion detection systems or deploy honeypots and honeynets to detect intruders. In simple words, it is a setup environment that has the intention to attract cyber attacks as a decoy. This protective layer will use their intrusion attempts to gain information about cyber criminals and the way they are operating, or to distract them from other targets. This method is not recommended unless the company has the required security professionals to leverage the concept of protection. Lastly, will be to cover the tracks. Once the attacker gains access and dump out all the previous phrases, the final step will be to cover the trace. They are doing this to cover up their tracks, to escape the security personnel, and normally to cover up trace in the system. They will do so by cleaning the archive and cookies, tampering with the logs files, and closing all the open ports. And attackers would like to destroy evidence of their presence and activities for various reasons, such as maintaining access. This step is important because it clears the system's information, making hacking a greater deal and harder to track. Erasing evidence of compromise is a requirement of an attacker who likes to remain uncovered. This is one of the best methods. These usually start with erasing the contaminated logins and any possible error message that has been generated from the attack process. For example, buffer overflow attacks will usually leave a message in the system logs. Next, the attention is turned to effectively changes so that future logins are not locked. By manipulating and tweaking the event logs, the system administrator can be convinced that the output of the system is correct and that no intrusions or compromise has taken place. Since the first thing a system administrator does is to monitor unusual activities by checking the system log files. It is a common practice for attackers to use the utilities to modify the system logs. If the attackers intend to access the system for a longer period, they might use rootkits to disable logging totally and discard all existing logs. But this will be an extreme case. They will then remove only those portions of the logs that will reveal their presence. Attackers must make the system look like there's no action done before they gain access and establish backdoors for their use only. Any files which have been modified need to be changed back to their original attributes. The information listed, such as file size and date, just attributes information contained within the file. And attackers can also use the system as a cover-up to launch fresh attacks against other systems, or use it as a means of reaching another system on the network without being detected. Therefore, this phase of attack can turn into a new cycle of attacks by using reconnaissance tactics all over again.
Ethical hackers' responsibilities.
Now, if you have developed interest in ethical hacking, let's go through the responsibilities of an ethical hacker. These will be some of the common duties and responsibilities that ethical hackers will need to perform daily. Or, I would say, some of the career paths which the ethical hacker can look forward to. First, we know that an advanced level ethical hacker can carry out penetration testing, a series of testing to ensure that the systems are free from hacking and vulnerabilities. Besides carrying out real-time penetration testing, an ethical hacker will need to create scripts that test for all these weaknesses. Not every day will require penetration testing, as penetration testing is not cheap. So during non-penetration testing hours, an ethical hacker will create the scripts and fine-tune their scripts, and help the team to fine-tune the scripts as well. Next, ethical hackers know how a hacking incident will work. So they'll be the best defenders in the company to develop tools to increase company security. Establishing a company's security will also involve three portions: the hardware, the software, and the humanware, which is the company staff. So the attacker hacker need to consider all three elements and come up with a strategy for the company. And they will need to develop or come up with tools to help with the company protections as well. Thirdly, besides carrying out penetration testings, the main duties of an ethical hacker will be to perform risk assessments. Ethical hackers will have the highest level of understanding in system security at the most vulnerable point of the study systems. So they'll be in the best position to perform the risk assessments. Besides carrying out an internal risk assessment for their company, they are also able to carry out a risk assessment for other companies after they carry out a deep study of the environment. They might carry out assessment using software and policy guidelines, like interview to gather all the necessary information. Following, as I mentioned before, the overall strategy for the company will include hardware, software, and humanware. So setting up security policy will be one of the jobs for ethical hackers. If there's no policy in place, it is also their responsibility to draft out and create policy from scratch. This also includes drafting and reviewing policies for other companies. Some ethical hackers will also need to draft a firewall policy or other policy besides the cybersecurity policy. The last common responsibility of an ethical hacker will be to carry out training for internal and external staff. They will train the staff for network security and related domains. The best training advice you can get will be from the professionals.
What should I do after hack?
So, what should a person do after they have been hacked? The first task the victim needs to carry out will be to shut down the system. This is to immediately cut off the communication from the network. This is similar to turn off the router or cutting off the firewall. This will be the first steps, and we are on the right path as well. Then we need to separate the system from the network. This is like isolating the infected systems from the rest. So the infected system will not spread and affect the whole network. This is very important, as if the whole network got affected, no matter how you cure or ensure that your laptop is safe, you'll be exposed to attacks from a network point of view. But having a bad or infected network will result in spreading across all the equipments in your network. Once you have ensured that the system is isolated and you are safe from any new attacks, the next step will be to reinstall the systems or restore the system with the backup. It is always good to keep a backup for your company's system, as it's not 100% safe in cybersecurity perspective. After you restore all the data and ensure the network is good and running, you will be able to connect the systems back to the existing network. But remember that you need an ethical hacker to review the systems and network before you can safely plug the computer into it. A pen testing might need to be carried out. And finally, if the data are encrypted and ransomware had happened, there'll be a need to call and alert the police. Ransom is cybercrime, and it's legal for you to do so. Let me share some simple tips to reduce the risk of ransomware attacks. You should always install antivirus into your systems and always ensure that it's the latest patch. Always back up your documents and file. The best practice will be to back up your documents and file every month. Save them into an external hard drive or SSD. We will wrap up with 3 quick questions for our quick refresher. Question 1. For the below mentioned options, what are the advantages of hacking? A. Hacking helps to prevent data from theft. B. Is used for spoiling security attacks. C. Is useful for plugging the loopholes and bugs. D. Hacking helps in a malicious attack by preventing it. E. All of the above. Can you still remember what is the advantage of going into ethical hacking? The correct answer over here is E, all the above. Ethical hacking is useful for all the above aforementioned options. It helps in force security attacks, plugging the bugs and loopholes, helps for preventing data theft. It also prevents from malicious attack. Next question. What types of hacking will be included if the attacker has been contacted for performing an attack against the target system? A. White hat. B. Grey hat. C. Black hat. D. Red hat. The correct answer for this question will be A. Anyone performing an attack against a well-informed target system comes under the white hat, whereas a cracker who destroys the security of the computer is termed as grey hat hacker. Grey hat is not considered as a hacker because it's a leading software company. A black hat hacker is a person working for personal financial gains. The last question. For a person having a script kiddie, knowledge hacking is termed as a person having a what kind or level of knowledge? A. High. B. Average. C. Low. D. Advanced. This will test our knowledge on what is a script kiddie. It's an easy job that can be done by anyone. A person who does not know about hacking can perform this, but it can be dangerous. Therefore, by performing script kiddie, at least no level knowledge is necessary.